My friends, the great experiment.
Prodigy.
Prodigy. Hidden. Trick.
Would you look at that?
The greatest trick.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
The greatest trick.
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's a new Star Trek podcast from the makers of The Greatest Generation. I'm Ben Harrison.
I'm Adam Pranica, back from 2 totally independent trips to New York.
Yeah.
Feeling good.
I think we were in different parts of the state then.
Oh, yeah?
Because I was out on Long Island, I think, when you were in the city.
Is that where the Hamptons are? Were you in fancy New York?
You know, the Hamptons contain multitudes. There are trailer parks in the Hamptons. I wasn't in them.
You went to go be with your trailer park neighbors?
I was closer to trailer park Hamptons than, Kardashian Hamptons. Put
Sure.
it that way.
You have an image to uphold. You couldn't have been somewhere too nice.
But yeah, I felt like ships in the night because I know that you were in town. Chuck Bryant was in town.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people rolling into New York at this particular juncture for all different reasons. Did you link up with anybody?
I am going to hang out with Chuck tonight. So I knew that I could kind of defer my hang for a moment.
Oh.
What I did was I hung out with some of our best friends live in New York, and we went to go see Glengarry with them, hit up Long Island Bar in Montera and stuff, and just did a bunch of eating and drinking with them. And I met up with our pal Stu at the bar he just opened, Commonwealth, and did a full-on Kentucky Derby party at Commonwealth with him, and just a total blowout amount of people. The sort of grand opening party at a bar you want if you really want to kick your sales off right.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I was bummed I couldn't make a visit to Commonwealth work with my busy schedule in New York.
FOD should go to Commonwealth. It's a brand new stew and char bar. It's great.
I know. It's a brand new beloved old stew and char bar. It's the bar that they met and fell in love in.
I know. The part where Stu got down on one knee taped off and a bar stool was put on top of it. Don't walk there.
Yeah, that's sacred ground.
You like a mint julep, Ben? I drank a bunch of those on Kentucky Derby Day. That was fun.
So we were conscious of it being Derby Day, even though we didn't have a way of watching the Derby. My buddy and I went out to a liquor store and we were like, should we buy julep stuff? And then we just wound up buying rum. And I made a strawberry basil mint mojito blender drink that we were calling rum juleps for no reason other than to be obstinate and ornery.
Basil and mint play nicely in a cocktail garnish. I feel like those are good.
Yeah.
Good New York trip all in all. You were there almost 2 weeks. Get the R&R that you needed?
No, not relaxing in the least to travel with 2 small children. Mm-hmm. Just full on and stressful. But I got to see a lot of people I love a lot and, eat some foods I miss and see some sights I miss. So,
hell yeah.
Good trip. I mean, it also just feels crazy because I haven't watched Star Trek in such a long time. The number of days since I last sat down and watched an episode is about as long as it ever gets these days.
Yeah, imagine that. I mean, it didn't feel like I was away from things too long. My trip was shorter, but I am excited to get back into recording show. It's our calling.
Yeah.
It's what we'll be doing into old age, I think.
I think Old Man Star Trek podcast is the goal here.
You know what, though? There are 10,000 Old Man Star Trek podcasts out right now.
I know, but we're going to age into it in such a graceful way.
All those olds will be dead by the time we age into old Star Trek podcaster territory. We're there to replace them. We will replace them.
Yeah. I mean, Star Trek podcasting is like a Pez dispenser, and when the last old men get pulled out of the neck, we will shuffle into their place, inevitably.
On our way there, Ben. Let's start today with today's episode. It's Star Trek Prodigy, Season 2, Episode 18, Touch of Grey.
You know the greatest danger facing us is an irrational fear of the unknown.
On my mark, go fast.
Appropriate for the old men we are becoming.
That was the point of my pivot.
Yeah.
That was the construction.
Yeah, I was just hanging a lantern on it for anyone not.
For our slower FODs.
Yeah. for the FODs in the back, this is what we were doing.
Lowercase FODs, those folks.
So we've got our ships together, and we're kind of Admiral's logging a little bit before where we left off at the end of the last episode. And it's a rare cold open on Prodigy. We're not just starting with theme song. We're starting with Janeway talking about how those children are behind enemy lines and unaccounted for and uncontacted, and she's just stressed as can be. And Chakotay wanders in and is like, "Hey, I know that you're stressed about having left a bunch of defenseless children in the field, but shouldn't we stop and acknowledge the fact that you've been doing a great job, and this is the 14th anniversary of your becoming captain of the Voyager?"
Chakotay's like, "Hey, is anyone here celebrating any command anniversaries at the table?" This is a weird moment because Janeway's mid-log when her lover appears, and that's usually a terrible time for any lover to appear. Yeah. Usually save that for a long-term committed relationship, I guess.
Oh, yeah. I mean, mid-log with the door open, that's a level of intimacy that many people just aspire to.
I've been married for almost 12 years. I don't think I'm ever going to get there. Have you ever heard Janeway with this much doubt in her own abilities before? I thought it was striking for a Starfleet captain at all, but this captain specifically to be like, I don't know if I have my fastball anymore.
I mean, the comp I can think of is Kirk in the Admiralty, knowing that he is admiraling in a Peter Principle sort of way, where his first and best destiny is to be in command of a starship, and coming back maybe isn't it's not just like riding a bike. And I guess the Chakotay coming in and talking to her about how many years behind the wheel she has is meant to be sort of motivational. You actually do really know what you're doing. I got a little bogged down, though, in it being 14 years for her, but also they talk about how he was marooned on an island for a decade of that.
Yeah, so it's 24 years for him by my math, right?
He is aging very gracefully. He doesn't look like he's much older than her now, right?
Yeah, I think that's true. I think you're legally obligated when you have two older characters in the same scene for one of them to say, "Were we ever that young?" At some point in time. And Janeway's the one to say it in this scene. Chakotay is like, yes. There was a time that my rubber tree grew long and firm. But after 10 years of plowing a hologram, what used to be a tall plant is now a softened stump.
Yeah, I mean, he was young enough to join a terrorist organization at one point.
Sounds great.
Yeah, you have to be young to do terrorism, really.
It's a young man's game, you age out. Unlike Star Trek podcasting, you age out of terrorism.
The point that is made toward the end is that, look, you can be worried for these kids all you want, but let's not forget, these kids saved our butts, our very adult butts, several times now and separately. So maybe we should have a little faith in them.
Let's, let's get the BBLs that I know they would want us to have, honor them by honoring these butts. This is right where we left off, because Ilthuran and Wesley get beamed aboard the bridge and say the thing about how we're all going to die because nobody knows what's going to happen. And this is where we cut to theme. When we come back, we're in Six Bay, and Wesley and Ilthuran are getting patched up after their ordeal. And specifically, we learn that Wesley has been relieved of all his traveler powers by the control collar thing that Asencia had on him.
Dr. Mark puts a clip show device on him, and he's like, look, Wesley will eventually be fine physically, I guess. But like all of the...
if you could call that fine. You know.
All the time travel stuff. Like, God, I really wanted to cut that sweater off of him and do the probes, the sticky things on his chest and stuff. Didn't get a chance to do that. It's just the one clip show device. And I feel like Wesley and Dr. Mark had this conversation before everyone else came in, because with how much energy he gives if it were anyone else, they'd be dead. But Wesley's made of sturdier stuff.
Yeah.
He can't be killed.
You being you, Mr. Crusher, you'll survive.
Like, it seems very dramatic to go so hard into the, like, Wesley's not a normal man. He could take it.
Yeah. What would the currency be that you could bribe Dr. Mark with? Like, I mean, he's very vain. Maybe Wesley just buttered him up with a lot of compliments about his various artistic projects.
I think Dr. Mark's vanity is bought very cheaply.
Yeah.
Very little would be necessary to goose that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a maybe. Maybe he'll get better someday.
I think one of the magic tricks we've described to the show previously is just how expressive all the characters become.
Yeah.
And how great they are at expressing every emotion we've seen so far. I want to point out that, like, it seems like pain might be a difficult one to do in an animated program as well as they're able to do. Like, this is a super close-up of Wesley Crusher's face, and he's doing pain squints that are familiar to anyone you've encountered who has stubbed their toe or had a time collar wrapped around their neck.
Yeah.
Like, you know what this looks like, and this feels real and painful.
It does. So Iltharan talks to Janeway about, like, why was Wesley even down there to be rescued in the first place? And Wesley's like, oh yeah, like I needed to trick Asencia into building the technology that she's using to prepare an invasion of Federation space. And everybody's like, what the fuck? And Iltharan comes to his defense with a like, no, like he really needed to do this so that she could invent this technology that then the proteges could use to get the ship back to Tars Lamora to fix the timeline. Like there's a wormhole that can't be created in any other way but this.
Asencia doesn't know this, right? Like, I feel like Asencia just wants the nukes to get a seat at the table. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think there was ever a moment where it was revealed that she was a pawn in Wesley's time game.
Well, she was, but then she wasn't, right? Because
Yeah.
she had her own ideas about what she would do and has gone off on her own.
I love how the revelation inspires that, like, Naked Gun style, everyone slap their own forehead moment in the scene. Because Wesley, I think, is really coasting off of the promise of his own reputation. Because when he says this, it sounds absolutely insane to everyone else.
Right.
Except for him.
Yeah, like he's not Ethan Hunt. You know, he doesn't win the impossible mission every single time and always treat everyone's life as more important than his own in that special Ethan Hunt way. Like, he doesn't have that reputation.
Wesley repeats again that, like, since the Protostar crew has been captured, he doesn't know what's going to happen next. That puts him on their level. And in walks Commander Tysus with a message from Solum. Asencia has captured their broadcasting apparatus and is putting out a video message to everyone. The message is this: I've captured Federation children spies. And Janeway is invited to do a prisoner exchange for them. That is what I would prefer.
Yeah, this crowd of no good teens proves that aliens are infiltrating our society and trying to destabilize it. Janeway needs to come face the music, and Tysus is like, "Hey, maybe you should not go. That seems like maybe a bad trade. Like you're an admiral. Last I checked, they were a bunch of no good teens. No deal."
I love it when something goes without saying, and yet someone has to say it. Commander Tysus going full, an admiral's life is worth more than the lives of children. Like, I think everyone knows that. We We don't have to say it, Commander Tices.
I mean, Ethan Hunt is the one person that does not believe that, but he's not in the room. There's nobody like him in the room.
This information isn't getting through to Janeway. She wants to go, presumably do the exchange, and Chakotay wants to join, and Wesley wants to join, and Dr. Mark too. They're all going.
It's a big happy family. We're getting a really weird Dustbuster club together.
Very well.
There's coffee in that.
Away team.
I did want to Tices react to this. He's on camera, but I wanted more displeasure with this kind of. It's so ad hoc too. It's not like Janeway's like you and you're on me. It's like, oh, like I like to go on that. That sounds fun.
Tice's got his Dustbuster Club, and he blew it. Remember?
It's true.
You blew it.
Yeah. So we cut to the surface of Solum, where the prison train is zooming through its little hover track. Chaos Murph is testing the electric fence, not quite as systematically as a raptor, but they're headed to some horrible fate, and Gwyn is just feeling terribly guilty about this entire situation and the path that has put her society on. Really, strong main character energy, I guess, because it was kind of her mission to go there and stop this. And in fact, everything that's happened has only made the Civil War more inevitable. But the train stops and they're let out, and Perp walked toward this arena where Asencia is waiting for them. God, this is it's not a pretty planet, Solum, It's like, you feel bad for these people, the Vaunikat. Like, no wonder they're so worked up about everything.
Did you think this scene proved or disproved the whole Chaos Murph could do anything you wanted, he just chooses not to? Because, like, in that establishing scene on the prison train, like, he's kind of toying around with the bars and the shielding or whatever.
Yeah.
Then he gets to the arena. He's like, it seems like he could leave at any time. Do you think he's just participating in this for entertainment value? I strongly believe he can't be killed still. And he's just kind of coasting off of that.
Yeah, it's just something to do,
Yeah.
Do you think that Chaos Murph could stick the little part of him that's floating off the top of his head through the bars?
I think so. I mean, we've seen him stick pieces of himself through small places before.
Yeah. Anyways, back on the Protostar, the away team plus Iltharan are looking down at the giant vehicle printer in the shuttle bay there, and they're printing out a Vaunikat-style shuttle to go down to the planet on, because there's no beaming in or out. There's a scattering field at work that is going to prevent them from using transporters on this mission. And even Iltharan would like to go on this mission. He's among the many people who are trying to invite themselves along.
Iltharan, we cannot put you in danger because your future is to become a bad dad. What do you think of Chakotay being in between both Hollow Janeway and Janeway Actual here on the rail? Like, he's got to be feeling that ex-girlfriend meets next girlfriend vibe that makes his rubber tree plant tingle.
There's balls are getting pulled in opposite directions.
One of our more interesting missions.
Pretty exciting situation for him.
Yeah.
They're building this Vaunikat ship because they can't transport down, and that's going to come into play a little bit later, too. Off to the side, the Hollow people are talking. Hollow Janeway and Dr. Mark. And I would be extremely nervous about being in a room where two Hollows are off to the side conspiring, just because of the way androids have behaved over the years when they conspire together. They aren't talking about overthrowing humans, though, Ben, because it feels like Hollow Janeway is kind of making a pass at Dr. Mark here, talking up his abilities.
She's really fangirling out.
I've read all your work.
What do you think this means?
I feel like maybe she sees the writing on the wall that Chakotay's energies are going to be focused elsewhere, and maybe if she can get cuffed up right now when he crashes on the rocks of Janeway Actual, he won't come running back to her because she'll be like, sorry, we were on a break and I kind of got something else going.
Yeah.
It's Sato.
Smart of her not to grab for the next branch before letting go of the last, you know?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you got to be careful. Speaking of branches of family trees, Janeway kind of shames Wesley for not calling his mother more often as they fly this ship towards Solum.
Yeah. Is that the headspace you want to put a critical member of your Dustbuster Club in during a life-threatening mission, Admiral Janeway? Why don't you save the "you should call your mom more" conversation for after you potentially survive this mission? That was nuts, I thought.
Yeah, I mean...
You want to put me in a bad mood? Ask me about my mom and when was the last time I talked to her.
Maybe Janeway was right. She doesn't have her fastball anymore. Like, as a commander, you probably know not to go for the emotional jugular on somebody who is already in a weakened state mentally and emotionally.
I think it makes Wesley look even worse because to a person for whom time doesn't exist normally, like, hey, if you missed your mom's birthday, you could call her yesterday. Like, because you have control of time. It's actually a worse look for Wesley because he could have at any point gone back to call her regularly and made it right.
You had that ability and you didn't even use it for that? Ooh.
Yeah, that's the worst look of all.
I was also just thinking about like the 9-year-olds watching this show being like, wait, you don't call your mom? What?
I mean, you're going to find out in a couple years. I don't know what modern kids do as far as the cadence of their parental communications.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just blowing a text.
Yeah.
With an emoji.
A heavy bit of foreshadowing as they approach Solum, and Dr. Mark does a Vaunicott impression. It's not a great impression, but it does well enough to get them a landing site 2 kilometers away from the spot that the prisoners have been taken to.
Did you think it was a Vaunicott impression or a Death Knock impression? He sounded kind of Robo to me.
Oh, maybe it was Robo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, wouldn't the Vaunicott design their robots to have sort of a Vaunicott cadence, you know?
Sure.
It was like Siri is like trying to sound a little bit more natural every time I upgrade my phone.
I mean, when you're on Solum, you want to kind of code switch between Vaunicott and Death Knocks, you know, depending on who you're hanging out with.
Well, yeah, but also like you don't want to do Death Knock around Death Knocks because...
Well, I mean, you do, but what you don't want is to do Death Knock speak with Vaunicott and there's like a Death Knock behind you. You're like,
yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have done that.
Ooh, can't wait. Should be a real humdinger.
It's like, you're making fun of me, right? You're making fun of me for being a Death Knock? You think that's funny?
Yeah, Death Knock don't say humdinger like that. It's actually very offensive.
Oh, it appears that you're more than just a temporal discriminator.
Yeah.
We need to score a lot of laps fast.
Licensed businessman.
This ship and her history will shortly become the care of another crew. They will continue the voyage as we have begun.
The greatest trend.
2 kilometers away, Ben, however far away that is from the arena, not only is it distance, it's height. Because in between them is a giant mountain range that they will have to scale, and they do not have a Travis Mayweather there to help them.
No. The kids are let into the arena, which is slammed behind them, and they sort of discover that it's like the ruin of a city in there. It was a little unclear to me whether this was like an arena built around the ruin of a city or if the arena itself was part of the ruin, but it seems like more ruinous inside than out. And it's pretty clear that this is where they've been led to die.
You should see the ruinous on the inside. That's what they say about this arena.
Asencia's up there, up on a platform, and Gwen is like yelling at her, like, "You fucking idiot! If you do this, everybody is doomed. Just let us go through the time portal with our protostar and put everything back right."
The last thing you want when you're bad guy monologuing is someone piping up with some sort of contrary opinion.
Yeah.
Let me finish my bad guy monologuing.
I mean, this is why you have the switch that drops people into the shark pit, right?
Yeah.
You know, and her particular shark pit has something worse than sharks in it.
This felt to me so much like the Rancor scene in Star Wars, right? Like, here's the arena. We're unveiling the big scary monster.
Yeah.
Only the big scary monster here is a loom.
It's a loom.
It's kind of a Rasta loom, though, because its colors seem different from before, right?
Let's just say this is a loom that wants to bring all praises to Jah. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
This loom maybe views the Protostar crew as Babylon or similar.
See, I knew by saying that you'd have all the references. All I needed to do was say it.
They're bald heads at the very least. And it's wearing a collar that looked very similar to me to the clip show device that Asencia put on Wesley, which seems to indicate that she's getting help to do this, right? Like there's going to be somebody pulling the Asencia strings at the end of all this, it feels like. Any guesses about who that could be?
I'm not sure if I agree.
Oh, interesting. You think she's coming up with the technology by herself?
Well, yeah, if you can travel through space and time in order to obtain the technology you need in this way, I just think she likes putting collars on things.
Yeah. She's a collar enthusiast.
Yeah.
While her domesticated murder panther is very scary to the kid.
It's a weird mood shift because, like, oh my God, we're all gonna die, cuts back to the Dustbuster Club, where Dr. Mark is like, I just love walking and climbing. I can't tell which one I like more. Maybe it's the climbing. I just did a bunch of it.
I mean, we don't have Mayweather here, but don't we? You know?
I mean, we've not seen Dr. Mark shirtless, but I mean, when you're a hollow, couldn't you be ripped and exploded if you wanted to?
I am sure he has fabulous cum gutters. The corporeals all hate this walk. They're all exhausted. It doesn't look that steep to me.
Look at Janeway, though. She's old.
She is old.
She's too old.
And Chakotay's 10 years older.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. But he's been living outside, you know? He's probably in pretty good shape, despite all of it.
Do you think Dr. Mark has the strength greater than a normal man for being a hollow? Like, could Dr. Mark have, like, carried Janeway and Chakotay and Wesley on his shoulders and neck?
If he can reform into a different character, could he have reformed into a dune buggy to, like, get them over the mountain, or an ATV or something similar?
I feel like these are the questions that kids are going to have when they watch this show.
Yeah, but here's the problem. Too complicated to do the line of toys of all of the different things that Dr. Mark turns into, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Chaos Murph problem.
It's a Chaos Murph problem. So they arrive at the exterior of this arena, and Wes is kind of losing his nerve because no powers, and Janeway is like, from my understanding, you are a very good Starfleet officer. And Wes is like, oh, I'm so glad you didn't read about the end of my Starfleet career.
I'm resigning from the Academy.
The motivation that she wants him to take away from this little pep talk is like, be the Starfleet officer and not the traveler in this scenario.
And start by following my orders. Because Janeway splits them up immediately.
Yeah. She and Dr. Mark are going to go off and approach Asencia, while Chakotay and Wesley are going to work on busting into the arena. Asencia pleasantly surprised when a solo Janeway walks into the room and announces herself. And man, Asencia just hasn't met a villain monologue that she doesn't want to say.
She's living her best life. I appreciate it. Just look at her. She captured the throne so fast.
Yeah.
And she's loving it.
Like, it's a thing in children's programming that, like, villains are self-consciously villains. Like, Shredder knows he's the bad guy in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know? Like, and embraces it and is totally happy about that. And Asencia is the same way. She's like, I fucking love this. All I want to do is tell people about my horrible plan and how much I've outsmarted them and everything. And this is no different.
It's not just that she's bad and she's got an evil plan. She also does everything she can to kick Janeway in the nuts. Like, she's just mean to her.
Yeah.
Even more pathetic and predictable than I remembered.
So the kids are like running away from the loom thing. They start talking about the loom thing being a little bit different from the ones they're used to. And Zero has connected telepathically and realized that this particular loom is afraid and lonely. Poor little guy.
I didn't like this moment. The whole vibe shift of like, this thing is about to kill me to there are living things trapped in here from both sides.
Yeah, like, are we gonna get looms like hugging each other and singing "Kumbaya" when this is over? Because like they didn't want to tear this universe apart; they had to. That was their job.
I'm really glad that the episode didn't wallow too much in this vibe.
Yeah, I mean, there was also a little bit of like a "How did Asencia do this?" and somebody saying like, "Who gives a shit? It's gonna eat us."
Yeah. What's really important here in this moment?
Yeah. So Janeway is trying to negotiate this prisoner exchange. Like, take me, let the kids go free. Even though that loom is already running around chasing him in there. And Asencia is pretty quick to say, like, that was actually just a ruse. No deal. I've just lured you here. It's all part of my evil plan. And now I'm going to shoot you in the chest.
Great and surprising moment. Like, if this were the end of the episode, capital D's and lots of them.
Yeah. Everyone's got big old D's if that's at the end of the episode. I feel like we still got like a third of the episode left.
I love just the moment where Janeway presents her end of the deal. Asencia's like, no deal.
Fine.
Blast. There's not even a thought about it.
Oh, it's so good.
You aren't given longer than 3 seconds, I would say, to process the idea that Admiral Janeway has been shot and potentially killed before it's made clear that that was Dr. Mark for the slow FODs in the audience.
It was a little bit the prison transport with Chewie on it blowing up as it takes off. Like,
yeah.
Like, okay, like obviously that was just Dr. Mark, but it was actually foreshadowed earlier in the episode. So
right.
It's not as egregious.
But when your next scene is the real Admiral Janeway joining Wesley and Chakotay, like, you're not even given a second to doubt it.
Right. It was like we're splitting up. He and I are going this way. You two are going that way. And then I'm doubling back and rejoining you guys.
Do you have a Mission Impossible comparison for this?
I mean, I guess it's Philip Seymour Hoffman ripping off his mask and it's Tom Cruise in there, actually.
Great moment.
I don't remember which number Mission Impossible is the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman, but there's a scene in that where he is like swinging from rafters and like running and jumping like Tom Cruise, but it's Philip Seymour Hoffman. That is like one of my favorite movie moments ever. It's so silly.
Pretty great. They're doing a Philip Seymour Hoffman retrospective at the Academy Museum, and they have been for weeks and weeks. And they're playing everything, including like the deep, saddest cuts, like Owning Mahoney and Love Liza.
Oh, man.
Like only the hardest core PSH fans even know about those movies. And I saw those in the theater back in the day. I can't believe that people are watching them today. If you want to get your sad on, go see Love Liza. Incredibly sad.
Yeah.
I have nothing! You had everything!
See if the art house cinema near you is also screening that right now.
Yeah.
I had some friends that were the previous renters of the apartment he scored his last H in, weirdly. They like read the news report and they were like, that's our fucking apartment. What the hell?
They pay extra for that? Fucking sickos?
No, it was before.
Oh, so they gave it the energy.
I know. I slept on the couch in that apartment. Maybe I gave it the energy.
I think you probably did. I think it's all your fault, Ben.
I feel like it might all be my fault.
Yeah.
All the time about everything.
I know. Janeway doesn't see Zero telepathically downloading the update of things into her mind as some sort of invasion that I thought it was. Did you?
Nah. Yeah, the message from Zero is that there's a lonely loomie in here, and so Janeway and Chakotay and Wes get to work on mounting an explosive communicator badge to the wall. This was not the commemorative first command communicator badge, right? This was the updated modern edition communicator badge.
When you're issued a comm badge in this era of Star Trek, you better read the manual, Ben. Like, you do not want to be tapping that thing in a way that sets it to explode.
Yeah. No. That's...
blow your fucking nipple off.
I mean, if you're Cal Hudsoning it.
Fucking crazy. How strong these things are.
Yeah.
So they blow a hole in the side of the arena, and that's all it takes to start flickering the power in this facility. And then the collar of the loom drops off, and then the loom escapes through the hole. And it is at this point that Asencia might be a lowercase FOD, because she has finally discovered somehow that the Janeway that she thought she was shooting is in fact Dr. Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
No.
Yeah. This comes as a horrible surprise to her.
Do you think it is the most disappointed anyone has ever been to see Dr. Mark appear in a situation? Because he's seen this a lot, I bet.
Yeah, this is a facial expression he's become accustomed to over the years.
Yeah. He blurps out of there before he can see too much more of it. And I think it's for like emotional self-defense reasons.
Yeah. They all meet up just outside the arena, the Protostar crew and the away team. And, they're talking about like, wow, great, we're all safe, except for not, because there's a loom rampaging around that could erase us from the timeline at any moment. But Wesley is able to remote pilot their shuttle back over to them, and they take off under fire. While that loom goes into the control room where Asencia was conniving in, takes out all the faceless guards, but for some reason spares her.
That seems to put a check in favor of your theory, Ben, that the loom is somehow controlling Asencia.
Yeah.
But wouldn't this loom specifically be extra pissed?
So pissed at her, right?
Yeah. How could this loom resist killing her?
I would have killed her if I was the loom.
Wow.
Wow. What happens to the story if Asencia is erased from a timeline? Like, nobody can remember her existence. Because, like, the second this loom leaves, more guards come in and are like, there's an uprising back at the Capitol. We've got to go crush it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we see, like, Ilthuran, like, stoking the rebellion. And, like, somehow everybody is on the same page that that's more important than the rampaging murder panther.
It seems like one of these things is like an alien xenomorph. Like, if you have one egg on your planet,
you're fucked.
Extermination is happening.
Like, nuke it from orbit is the only answer.
Yeah.
Fucking A.
That's a great call. Yeah, I mean, bad dad's on the screen asking for revolt, but like, where are the revolters going to come from if they're systematically taken off the board by a time panther?
It's hard for me to wrap my mind around. But one thing I was glad this episode returned to is Gwyn's feelings about the whole situation, because as they're taking off, like flying back up to the ship, Gwyn kind of makes it clear that the like civil war that she was specifically sent to prevent is what just broke out in the fact that an uprising has started.
Did she say anything about my dad started it? Because I didn't get any of that energy from these feelings at all.
Yeah, did she? I don't know if she saw the broadcast. I mean, she's going to be fucking pissed at him when they get back.
Maybe he was always ever going to be bad dad.
Maybe that's just his destiny.
Yeah, that's his nature.
Well, they're talking about the only way now is to figure some way out to get the Protostar to Tars Lamora. And they feel like they're going to have to fight Janeway on this until she kind of pre-agrees with them about it. I'm all really surprised to hear that from her.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's consistent with the vibes on the ship as it leaves. Like, the vibes are pretty immaculate. Outside of the whole we left a civil war down there on Solum.
Yeah, aside from Gwyn being like the one thing that I was sent to prevent has now happened.
There's one of these at every party, you know? Like, kind of the bummer hang.
I'm prone to night terrors.
But Janeway sees her bumming like this and is like, look, we're Starfleet. We can do hard things many at a time. Sometimes. So how about we save Solum and do the Protostar mission all together? And so the feeling at the end of the episode is maybe a couple capital D's, maybe a couple of lowercase D's, but like hopeful, optimistic.
Yeah.
We're going to do it. We're going to try anyway.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Did you like this episode of Star Trek Prodigy?
She'll always bring it home.
I really did. I did, except for showing mercy to a lethal time panther that wants to kill you. I keep saying kill you, but what the panther does is something very different. I wanted to ask you, Ben, because I almost said fate worse than death. I kind of think that's wrong. I kind of think it is fate better than death.
Fate better than death.
What side are you on? Maybe thinking about it not personally is the way to do it, but like, every grave eventually goes unattended. Like, a person truly dies when they stop being remembered and their song stops being sung. Whatever your version of that is. Like, what if there was no song to begin with? What if there was no grave to eventually go untended to? Is that not better in some weird way?
Like, you short circuit the whole thing.
Yeah.
By not even playing the game.
There's no one and nothing to grieve because you never existed at all. It's really kind of a mindfuck.
I mean, that's sort of how I feel just in general anyways. So,
well, you have hundreds of hours of Star Trek podcasts to live on without you.
Yeah, my name's going to ring out. What a legacy.
We'll only die permanently when folks stop listening to this show.
Yeah, well, that's never going to happen, so we don't have anything to worry about, you know? Like, this
you said it, Ben. We're living forever. 2,000
years from now, when, like, temples have been erected in the name of Ben and Adam, probably competing temples, like, across the street from each other, and, like, the Benites.
God, I hope so.
Will never speak to the Adamites and vice versa.
No one knows when your temple opens. Mine has very specific hours that are predictable. People can appreciate, count on it. You just drop into Ben's temple.
I mean, if you can, you know. Sometimes nobody's there and the doors are locked, you know.
Another thing about this is, like, I think there's 2 episodes left this season.
Yeah.
For the 18 episodes that we've had in season 2, I feel like we've done a lot of stuff, but maybe we haven't made a lot of progress besides assembling the team required to create the solution to the thing. Like, we're going on a lot of adventures.
Yeah.
And that's fun. But kind of a lot to tie up in 2 eps.
We assembled the team and got them back into their sort of prototypical outfits. And I feel like between those 2 things and robbing Wesley of all of his superpowers so that he can't Deus Ex Machina the solution at the end.
Good.
We're set up for an exciting conclusion.
Yeah, it feels like a very side questy season.
Yeah.
Did you like this episode specifically, though?
I did, yeah. I think the show does so much with so little time. Like, I was just thinking about, like, the moment between Hollow Janeway and Dr. Mark as being like, man, those are 2, like, really 3-dimensional characters, har, in a show that has, like, a really big cast at this point. And
it's true.
We get these short little episodes, and I feel like everyone on screen really gets, like, a little bit of time to, like, be the main character of their own story in a really cool way.
Yeah, I think maybe this episode is the problem in the beginning was, will Janeway get her groove back by the end? And I think through the completion of a successful mission, that happens.
Sure.
Like she's back to full strength, full heart. Like in the video game parlance, you get like your physical hit points and your emotional hit points.
Right.
I think she's back up to 100 after this.
Totally. She's ready to face the boss enemy. She's like almost 100%ed the open world. She's gotten all the weird guns or whatever. She's ready.
She's Ethan Hunt ready to wear the Philip Seymour Hoffman mask. Let's see what we got on the Priority 1 message inbox, Ben.
Let's do it.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Adam, here's a promotional message. Not a promo, just scarves for both TGG and GD/GT. Started when y'all were on Voyager, then went back to find out who/what/why the fuck Kevin/loaf/Tin Man is. I live with anxiety and get overwhelmed easily. Your dick and fart jokes gave me the courage to tackle the mountain of new Trek. Listened after each ep, where I discovered 2 new faves, Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds. Thanks for being there for me, for all F's OD, for the broken nerds who don't belong somewhere. Love the strange new community you've created. Just saying thanks to Ben and Adam. Wow, thank you so much. Aaron, the leaver of this message.
Yeah, thanks to Aaron for being a great FOD. Yeah. Thanks for being along for the ride.
That anxiety thing, no fun, but you got this.
Yeah, there's room for you here on this rickety FOD bus. Room for all comers. Thanks, Aaron.
Adam, a personal Priority 1 message. This one from Guy English, and it's to Ben and Adam. And this appears to be another installment of the smash hit recurring segment on the program, Con. Is this a Klingon thing, an Andorian thing, or a Tellarite thing? And what Guy has gone and done is included a link to Wikipedia for something called Shawinigan handshake.
This is the term given to a chokehold, which was done to an anti-poverty protester by the then Prime Minister of Canada in 1996.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a little picture and everything.
Who can forget that time that Jean Chrétien wanted to punish somebody who was anti-poverty for speaking up on that?
I gotta say, it's definitely not Klingon, because he didn't use 2 hands.
Oh, yeah, it looks like...
I'm gonna go and strike that one.
You can't see his other hand in the picture, but it's his left hand wrapped around the neck and like lower jaw of a guy in what Canadians refer to as a toque.
Yeah, looks very stylish. And you gotta wear sunglasses when there's a bunch of snow and ice out. It's just blindingly bright.
That kind of makes me think Andorian, just for the cold factor.
That's it. I think that's the best answer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a cold-ass choke. That's what we're talking about when we talk about the Shawinigan handshake. A Shawing handshake would be masturbation, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when you salute Claudia Schiffer from your public access show that you shoot in your basement.
Swing! Swing!
Exactly.
All right, well, if you'd like to see if you can one-up Guy English in the creating and executing your own segment on the show department, head to maximumfun.org/jumbotron. But you better be quick. I bet Guy English is already headed there.
Try to beat Guy English. I dare you. Hey, Ben.
What's that, Adam?
Did you find yourself a Barnus Fricks?
A Barnus Fricks?
Barnus Fricks!
Barnus Fricks.
Barnus Fricks! Barnus
I think I'm going to give it to Tysus, like, to go back on a thing I just said. A character who maybe is less fleshed out, less three-dimensional, has less of a, I know less about what he wants and, what his goals and hopes and dreams are than a lot of the others. But I am starting to notice that he's sort of the Worf of this show, which is that like when he has suggestions, they tend to be shut the fuck down right away if somebody with greater authority than him is in the room.
He's kind of Blue Worf, isn't he?
So for his achievement in being overruled all the time, I think he's going to be my Barnus Fricks of this episode. How about you?
Mine's going to be the security apparatus, the orbital security apparatus around Solum. I don't know what you're doing in that base, Death Knocks, but like when you don't even bother to get the approaching ship up on FaceTime, when you just make all sorts of assumptions about the voice on the other line and their permission to enter your airspace or whatever, when the voice on the other line starts using all kinds of vocabulary that you don't personally use, you don't talk that way.
They didn't even have like a landing permission that was an older code, but it checked out, you know?
I think Asencia's chances of her evil plot succeeding depends largely on the troops and the folks that she has around her. And I gotta tell you, Ben, they fucking suck. If they let this crew and this ship go through a checkpoint that seems pretty crucial if you're gonna land on the planet.
Yeah. Maybe just no ships get to land on the planet for a little while.
That is a great call. Yeah, drop the gates.
Yeah, till we're ready.
Yeah.
Very solid, Barnus, and very solid episode all around, my friend. I guess we just have one last segment here on the program, don't we?
Sure do, Ben. It's Warning Bois, the part of the show where we highlight a message that an FOD has put out in the world in order to grow our audience, and also, maybe even more importantly, keep folks away who just wouldn't like our deal at all.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning, boys.
An emergency buoy. A warning buoy.
We got a review here, the Podcast Addict app. And if you're, if you're suffering from podcast addiction, there is help out there. I would recommend talking to a faith leader or, calling one of those hotlines. But
hey, listen, you just got a lot of podcasts that love you a whole bunch. We're just here to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
If you unsubscribe to our shows today, we can continue to have a relationship.
I think what's important to say is we're done enabling at this point. Anyways, this review came from Yammy0204, who said, every time I listen to this podcast at work, I choke laughing and awkwardly must tell my worried coworkers that I'm okay. My embarrassment every time always feels in line with the ethos of the pod. Thank you for making me laugh so hard that my coworkers think I'm dying.
I love it. I love that.
I love the idea of being in a workplace where I am constantly worried that one of my coworkers is dying. Like that just seems like a very exciting environment to try to manufacture widgets in.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want the Heimlich maneuver done to me accidentally. Like if the idea is that I'm choking.
Yeah, you break a rib pretty much every time is my understanding, right?
Get your fucking hands off of me.
Yeah. I hope Yammy's rib cage is in good working order despite all of the attempted interventions by those coworkers. And hey, thanks to anyone who leaves a nice review in your podcasting app of choice. I see more and more comments on the Spotify for Creators app coming over my, so many fucking push notifications on my phone, day and night.
Yeah, how'd that go in New York based on time zone? Like, not any different? Still middle of the night for you?
Yeah, I was, I was leaving my phone in a drawer a lot of the time.
Wow.
Trying to actually be present on my vacation.
Good phone hygiene by you, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I mean that sincerely.
But thanks for leaving a review. And if you've got time to listen to this, I think you got time to leave a nice review on your podcast app or just recommend it on social media or something. And if we see that out there, you might hear your words coming out of our mouths on the Warning Bois segment.
Next time it could be you.
All right, Adam, we got to go. Let's leave this podcast in Wynde's capable hands. She'll tell the folks a little bit about what's happening next week on Greatest Trek.
Thanks, Wynde.
Bye-bye.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Ben and Adam will be back next week with a review of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 19. It's called Ouroboros Part 1. A desperate Asencia launches an all-out attack on the Federation that will destroy subspace, while Wesley and the cadets try to correct the timeline. A big thank you to all the members who are pitching in with a small monthly contribution to help keep this show going. Members get monthly bonus episodes, as well as access to the entire back catalog of bonus content from across the network of shows. It's really quick to set it up at MaximumFun.org/join, and we really appreciate your support. Thank you to Nick Dittmore, who created the show art, and thanks to Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. Thanks also to Rob Adler and Bill Tilley for their work on the @Greatest Trek social media pages. Find those accounts and give them a follow. And be sure to use the hashtag Greatest Trek when you post about the show. You can also find us on YouTube and get yourself some fun merch at podshop.biz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows supported
directly
by you.